Gemma, Paul, Sandra, hello. Hello, everybody. We've just seen a little taster of what Hits is all about, and we're obviously going to dive in a bit further and look under the bonnet. Before we do, though, I wanted to start by putting you all to the test, because as we've just heard, Hits is all about the big new tunes, but also the throwback anthems, and I want to find out where your musical allegiances lie. So I've come up with a game. Okay. Single, album, delete. I'm going to give you 3 artists. I need to know if you're playing just one of their singles, if you're going to put on the entire album, or if you're deleting them from the Hits playlist.
Wow.
So we've got The Weeknd, Harry Styles, Beyonce. And Paul, seeing as you're in charge of Hits, I think we should start.
I can't have enemies, though, can I? And that's, you could have given us the heads up you were going to do that. That's
Sorry.
So I think I would say, right, the album, from a personal perspective, I think The Weeknd. I'm a big fan of The Weeknd. Oh my God, what am I about to do to Beyonce? I think from a single perspective, Harry Styles, because my kid goes to the same school as Knowles Chapel, so I'm all for that. And he could be the next Harry Styles. Which means I've just binned Beyonce, doesn't it? Which is a brutal move, and I don't mean that. So.
Gemma, are you disagreeing with Paul?
I'm going to bin Harry Styles.
In Manchester?
I do like him, but out of those, I know. I'd keep Beyonce's album, but her earlier stuff. I liked the I Am Sasha Face, how she did the melodies and she did the upbeats. And then the singles, The Weeknd.
Okay, we'll take that. Sandra, disagreeing or?
I think I would. I think Harry Styles, definitely out.
He's out.
Wow.
Okay.
And then The Weeknd is single.
Yeah.
And then,
okay. All right.
You're like the female Simon Cowell. That's it.
A no from us. All right, Paul, let's jump into all things Hits. We've just had a look at the video. It's one of the UK audio's biggest networks. 7 million people reached every week. But beyond the numbers, what is Hits all about?
I think hopefully the video you just watched gave you a good feel for the emotion we try and create. I mean, our ambition is to make Hits Britain's biggest pop station. But for us, you know, the music is right at the centre of it, playing the hits, playing the throwbacks, and all those emotional feels you get when you hear that song that you first fell in love to, or you had that mad holiday in Ibiza to 10, 15 years ago. But we pride ourselves on what we do in between the songs. And I think, you know, I'm blessed to be surrounded by such incredible talent that you can see on the screen, who I'm sat next to, who just go on air day in, day out, and just talk about stuff in the most real, relatable way, and have a laugh. And fundamentally, radio's superpower is about that connection and just cheering people up. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We don't take our jobs too seriously. We're trying to create an emotional reaction every single time. And we have a very simple brand filter, and it is about being real, and it's about being relatable. It's about being entertaining, making people laugh. That authenticity, which I think you absolutely just encapsulate in the purest form. And then finally, that liveness of radio, which again is this beautiful superpower of radio, like coming in this morning, being stuck on the M60 because it was shut, and hearing Fleury's talking about that, and making the music count today in a different way than it did yesterday. I mean, that's what I think we're really good at.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? And Gemma, when you fade up that mic and you broadcast to people, are you thinking about the millions of people that are listening, or are you thinking about just one? And if it is just one, like who is the Hits listener when you put that mic up?
It's both, really, because the beauty of it, I find, is that, you know, when we're in the studio, it's so secluded and it's so intimate, but you're telling a story that's so relatable to millions, you know. And this is, for me, the job is fantastic, because a lot of, you know, other jobs I've worked on, you have a media training session before you go and talk. You know, it's a character you're playing. What the Hits team encourage us to do, which I love, is just be yourself, just be authentic, just be real, because everyone's dealing with, you know, the good times, the shitty times, the struggling with the parents, the loss of a parent. You know, there's highs and lows in life for everybody. And I think the good thing with Hits is what we're going through as individuals, so many other people are. And the amount of times we'll talk about a topic on air, which could be so mundane and so normal, but we'll have so many people contact us on air saying, this happened to me today, it happened to me the other week, or thank you for being open about that because I thought I was the only one struggling. So we go from like belly laughing to literally bringing it down, back up again, but everyone's on a journey with us. And it's only when the faders go back down, you go, oh my gosh, as if they've contacted us, you know?
Do you find that there is, because as Paul touched upon, it's about that connection and it's about adding something to the lives of people driving home after work. Do you find, when you go into the studio, a bit of a responsibility to kind of add a bit of joy to people's life?
Yeah, because I think, you know, for a lot of people, they've been sat at a desk or they've been, you know, in a hospital ward or they've been at home with the kids running them wild. They're knackered, everyone's exhausted, everyone's just trying to spin plates. And after a manic day, if you can just stick a radio station on that, like Paul says, takes you back to a time when life was a bit easier, or takes you back to a time when this was happening, but in between that, you're hearing people chat about the stuff you're doing. You know, it's these little things like if you're having your tea tonight, we do Friday night tea, what are you having? It flies. People just message us.
What's the most popular Friday night tea?
It's always a takeaway on a Friday for most people. Chippy tea, pizza. Yeah, McDonald's in the car, it's all that stuff. And everyone's just doing the same thing, it's brilliant.
Sandra, what are you having for tea on Friday? No, that's not the question. You work on the commercial side of hits. When you work with brands, why are they wanting to be on hits?
I think with hits, I mean, obviously it's a national station, it's a network station, it's got a really strong weekly reach. But the main thing, the core audience that they have is family-focused 25 to 44-year-olds, and that's a really important audience for brands to reach. So that's why they use the station.
And I think one of the things which sets hits apart is it's got Mancunian roots. It's not purely based in London, like many radio stations are. What does it mean to be broadcasting from Castle Key every day, Gemma?
Oh, my commute's like under half an hour, it's a dream. So that's a bonus. But no, do you know, it's really lovely and I go on about it all the time. But when we have a big window next to our studio and it overlooks the wharf and you've got the canal and you see people battling all the elements in the winter. You know, they're trying to keep the brolly up. You'll see them walking the dogs. On a Wednesday, there's a run club that meets at the wharf. No. We see them all. And we always say how lovely to not be in just a studio where it is just mics and nothing else. You know, we have an outlook. We can always look out, what's the weather like? We can always just have a look. What are people doing? What are people wearing? There's things you can instantly pick up on and it feels like you're in your living room. You know, it's such a lovely place. And like you mentioned, Paul, a lot of people assume that outside the M25 nothing happens. It's just kind of, they think up north we're all living on farms with no Wi-Fi. That's what a lot of people assume. So for us to be broadcasting, you know, one of the biggest popular stations from our home city is brilliant.
I think there's something really special about having a network which reflects the entire UK, both, you know, in its sound and how it looks, how it feels. And we have that coming from Manchester. We've got bases in London. We have a national show that goes out on Hits Radio in the 90s from Newcastle. We have an incredible network up in Scotland and Northern Ireland. And I think when you pull all of that together, you end up with an incredible sound that reflects what the UK looks like today.
Does it give you a bit of a special quality that maybe a station that only broadcasts in London doesn't have?
I think it definitely gives us a USP. And I think the truth is people love personalities from all over the country. I think it's fair to absorb that. You know, you have a huge fan base down in London. And, you know, Fleur does up here in the Northwest. And I think that people just love people who are authentic. And I think if you're going to be authentic, you've got to be reflective.
Sandra, do you find that the brands you work with want to be on hits because of this USP or are different because it's Manchester-based?
I think, to be honest, no, it's not treated any differently at all. I mean, it's obviously a huge national station. It just happens to be coming out of Manchester. That's the only difference. So in terms of how it's treated, it's exactly the same as our other national brands like Magic and Absolute.
And I suppose, Paul, from a talent perspective, it's an additional USP that there's so many brilliant creative people that aren't based in London, and if there aren't loads of other radio stations around, well, they're coming to Hits.
I think so, and we've seen it in the Northwest, haven't we? By building more media here in the Northwest, it's a great talent pool, and it does allow us to have a really diverse lineup, but also, you know, you're right, Gemma wouldn't go to London.
So commute would be far too long.
Yeah, far too long.
With
But,
kids, you can't, yes, it's ideal.
and it allows these personalities to stay in those markets and reflect many different parts of the UK.
I want to talk about as well the kind of the 360 nature of radio and audio, and we talk about it a lot. We talk about being wherever the audience is. The fact radio isn't now just a box in the corner of the room. You see it, you hear it, you experience it. What does that actually mean and look like for Hits, Paul?
I think it's that 360 piece, isn't it? I mean, radio was this invisible, mystical thing that used to go in the air, didn't it? And now you can hear it in so many different places, whether that's traditional radio in your car or through the Rayo app or through many of the sub-brands we've got on digital radio. How you see it, everything we make is now visualised. The studios are world-class. Gemma will go on air and tell a funny story about something that's real in your life, and before you know it, there's millions of views on TikTok or Instagram. And I think what's also really important is you can feel it. And when you go to one of our events and you're in an arena like the Co-op Live, the energy and the electricity of being in front of a radio station and experiencing live music, I mean, there's no better feeling.
Let's touch on the Co-op Live, because it's a really unique relationship that you have with the UK's biggest arena. How did that come about, and what is your relationship like with them?
Oh, it's brilliant. And the team at Co-op Live are phenomenal to work with. And I think when we heard about their ambition, when they first started talking about it, it matched our sort of energy and ambition about how we want to put Manchester on the map. I mean, the fact that they've secured the Brits in Manchester just screams and shouts what the city is all about. And tomorrow we'll be announcing our incredible lineup for Hits Radio Live in Manchester, which happens in November, and we did our first one there last year. And I'm not going to lie, I had a tear in my eye, because it was this magical moment of seeing these huge artists on stage, an arena ram-packed full of people who'd heard it on the radio.
Sold out.
Yeah, 100% sold out, and we've not even announced the lineup yet, and we're about 80% sold out already for Manchester. So be listening tomorrow morning from 7, because the big reveal is on.
Exciting. Good throw ahead as well. You can tell Paul works in radio. Gemma, I was at the Co-op Live last year. It was amazing. You were broadcasting backstage. I know you were also getting out and about. As a presenter, does it add another layer of that kind of connection you have with the audience when there are 20,000 Hits listeners there and you're a part of that?
Yeah, it's bizarre, because when you do interviews with the talent like down the line on air, you're a lot more relaxed than when they're just backstage at the arena. You see them walking down the corridor. They've all been to catering. That's the first place I go at that Co-op Live. I'm straight in catering. And you see them all there. And everyone's just so relaxed, but still so professional in terms of what they need to do. They'll do the sound check, they'll come and speak to you. And you do feel, it's not an added pressure, but you feel like you're bringing the audience into the radio for that one night, they're being a part of it. They get so up close, you know, and they'll message us after the show. They will get some of the callers on air to talk about their experience. And it's just something that our listeners look forward to each year. It's known as our thing, that this time in November, you're in Birmingham or Manchester, and it's just something that everyone's used to now.
You do speak to some amazing people backstage. Looking back over the last few years, is there a kind of a favourite artist in particular that you've been hanging out with, interviewing backstage?
Ed Sheeran's always brill. He always has a lot of time for you, Ed, even when you can tell he's rushing for sound check. So yeah, I'd say Ed Sheeran's brilliant. And Tom Grennan, he's always up for, we always have them games, don't we, backstage, like huge kind of arcade games, just to keep them entertained in between chatting to us. And they get really into it, don't they? Like some of them, I'm not sound checking until I've done this big wire thing. So yeah, it's just a really, really fun night. But Tom Grennan and Ed Sheeran are always lovely.
Sandra, when we talk about kind of the 360 side of audio and being wherever the listener is, obviously it's very pertinent to on-air. Is the same true for the commercial side of things, and the campaigns that have that perform any differently?
Yeah, so I think, to be honest, having that 360 strategy is really important, for one, because it helps you connect to more of your customers. So why wouldn't you want to do that? And it will increase your reach and your impacts. So it's just a major positive in everything that you do. Having a consistent message as well, it's just about building that trust with your customer. So that gives you lots more opportunities. And I think, to be honest, better customer experience for the consumer as well, and it gives you a stronger brand presence, so definitely.
If anyone does have any questions, we've got a couple of minutes left, and obviously you can send them in and we'll try and squeeze a few questions in. Gemma, alongside your Hits radio show, you're also you're a podcast host as well. Exciting news today, I believe. Is it? Can we talk about the new podcast and new show?
I think so. Yeah, I mean,
let's do it anyway.
Do it.
It's better
to ask for forgiveness.
Tell us what the new
That's
show
what I
is and all about it.
So I host a podcast with Women's Health, which I do with a lady called Claire. But myself and Gorka have a podcast with Bauer, which will be. Press release goes out today.
So this is an exclusive.
It's an exclusive, yeah. And the first episode is the 22nd of October, and it's called Lost in Translation. And it's
what's it going to be all about?
Well, it's just about juggling the everyday life with a Spaniard and a Mancunian. The fact that I love him dearly, but sometimes the back of his head annoys me. So yeah, it's going to be good, and it's with the Bauer team. It's been absolutely brilliant. So yeah.
And obviously we talk about that 360 thing, and I'm assuming it's going to be in your ears, but also across social media and filmed.
Yeah, you'll be able to watch it, listen to it, get involved. A lot.
Let's quickly. Oh, we've got a couple of questions. Okay, do you have any thoughts on what makes good radio advertising, or any examples of creative which has stood out for you? Okay, we haven't got loads of time left, but very quickly, why don't we finish? Would you each be able to give a super quick example of a brilliant bit of commercial creative that you've been involved with, a campaign that you're really proud of? And Sandra, why don't we start with you?
Campaign creative. So we did a Jet 2 campaign with Staying Relevant with Sam Thompson and Pete Wicks, and that creative was just amazing because the client and the talent got together and they let them be who they were. So all the KPIs were met for Jet 2, but it was because Pete and Sam did it in the way they did it. It became more authentic, like Gemma was saying, so it became more real and grew in terms of social media and everything. So I think being able to let go of the constraints of your brands that you have and let those talent actually do what they would need to do. So I think that's for me.
Paul, a favourite?
I think for me, we did a campaign with Universal around the new Minions film last year, and we ended up having Sam Thompson going into hiding somewhere in the UK, being chased by Joe Swash and a load of minions, which sounds like a massive cheese-induced dream, but actually it worked really well. It sounded fantastic on the radio, the audience bought into it, obviously tons of social and millions of views, and then great national PR as well, so everybody involved in that campaign benefited from it.
Big, bold, creative. Gemma, is there anything to finish on? Any highlight that you have?
Yeah, well, there's two for me. We do, every year we work with B&M for our Cash for Kids, and I get to do a trolley dash, which is just brilliant.
What?
It's like, I always used to watch Supermarket Sweep at Bananas, so I get to do a real life one. So that's always brill. But Tesco, I love we do a lot of campaigns with Tesco in terms of they sponsor our show, and they took a real chance on us. Me and Toolan sent them a video asking if they would sponsor a game that we have, the Throwback Shuffle. They kindly did. It did really, really well. And then it went on to doing a Tesco pet insurance campaign. I got to speak about dogs all morning, which was just brilliant.
Well, you're an animal lover, aren't you?
Yeah, so it's brilliant. And again, it's the everyday kind of brands and campaigns that come to us, or we ask them to come to us, that everyone knows about, everyone relates to. So it keeps it all kind of family-like. It's good.
3 brilliant examples, and I think all of them have that kind of natural authenticity and connection, and allowing the show and the presenter to kind of shine through as well as work with the brand. So thank you all for that. We're out of time, so I'm going to pass back to Steve, but thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, everyone.